Welcome to Unfiltered with Brenda Breland, where the only thing we take seriously is not taking life too seriously. I'm Brenda, mom, entrepreneur, straight shooter, and your go-to for saying all the things we've all been thinking. On this podcast, we're talking about life, business, and all the shit no one warned us about. Spoiler, I don't have all the answers, but I have a lot of opinions. Let's figure it out together, one unfiltered episode at a time. All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered. I'm so excited. Today we have Dr. Rob and Randy in the house. I am so excited to have you guys. Welcome.
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you. This has been a long time coming. What a treat to be in the hot seat with you, Brenda.
Well,
I
know.
Like
I think
my hair is underdressed right now, though.
Yeah.
It is. The hair makes up for the sweatshirt. You guys are all like in your suits and like looking trendy, and I'm over here in my sweatshirt, but it's fine. It's fine. I like you said, I feel like we've been friends online, for maybe at least 2 to 3 years now, but never actually like connected.
Yeah. It was cool. I think we did have we had a mutual friend. I was a husband and wife doctor that I think had connected us maybe a couple of years ago. But we never really had a formal intro. And then we've kind of chatted back and forth through Instagram. And we always admire your work and are rooting for you and seeing the changes you're making. So it was a natural and easy, organic fit to finally jump on with you.
Yeah. And I think we do a lot of things that are very similar, but you guys have like a really, really powerful story. And I would love for you guys just kind of share with the listeners, like, how did you guys get here? Who are you guys? What do you do? And then let's jump into a little bit of like the things that I feel like you guys are known for and really good at, and give our listeners a little bit of insight there. So I'll let you guys take it.
Yeah, no, this is fun. So, you're best equipped to help the person that you used to be. And so I think what we're doing now was really born out of some really hard life circumstances. So we're both retired chiropractors. By the way, Dr. Rob has been my best friend for over 21 years. I don't even remember a life without this guy. He's literally a brother at this point. Been through so much together. And so I remember being in chiropractic school, and here's how I met this guy. He had I heard about this incredible practice there in Bedford, Texas. And one of my friends in chiro school was going out there to do internship work with this Dr. Rob. And he kept saying, you got to go with me. This guy's practice is amazing. So finally, I ended up going, checking out his practice. And I just fell in love with the environment there, what he was doing, the patients that he was attracting into his life and into his clinic. And I'm like, I just want to model after this guy. So I literally pestered the hell out of him and just blowing him up, calling him, knocking on his door, going to his office. And he finally took me in, mentored me. And so that was kind of my start into chiropractic. But July of 2010, I was 8 years into practice, Brenda, and my worst nightmare happened. I was diagnosed with late stage melanoma cancer, and very aggressive, spread into multiple organ systems. And they're telling me, you've got 2 months, maybe 2 years to live. And I was 36 years old. And if you looked at me, you would think, this guy, he's super healthy. I'm talking the talk, I'm walking the walk, I'm helping people turn their health around. Yet I felt like the biggest fraud ever, because now I've got this cancer diagnosis. What the heck am I going to do? So you find out what you really, really believe when you're thrown directly into the fire. And I was literally in the middle of that fire. And so I remember I didn't even tell him about it. I didn't tell anybody. I'm just keeping it to myself, like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to find out what I'm going to do. And I knew what I wasn't going to do. I knew I didn't want to go down the medical road of the chemotherapy, the radiation, which is they were recommending. I really wanted to get to the cause of the problem. In fact, I really believe that health is the normal and diseases like cancer are the abnormal. But of course, in America, we're taught that, well, that's just supposed to happen. You've got bad genetics, or you're getting older, or you just got dealt a bad poker hand. So I ended up going into Spain, of all places. I'd heard about this cellular biologist, a medical doctor from Lebanon, there in southern Spain, in Marbella. You ever been to Spain, Brenda?
I have not, but I've heard of, I know a little bit about you, right? So like I've heard this, I've dug into like Spain and all the stuff that they do there, so, which is a whole nother thing, but it's
Yeah.
wild. It's wild.
Super wild. Yeah. And so, I'm going over there. I'd never been out of the country at the time. I fly over there and I'm not sure I'm coming back either in a coffin or healthy. And I was prepared for really either one of those, not to be hyperbolic. I really didn't know, but I really believe this guy could maybe help me. He'd helped a friend of mine's wife overcome Lyme's disease. So I get on a plane, I fly over there and I go meet with this guy and I get a 20-second consultation for $30,000.
Oh my God. That's wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the consultation? Does anybody want to
Yeah.
hear the
We
consultation?
need to know what that consultation consisted of.
Yeah, he taught me that I talk way too much when I'm trying to actually bring value to people and sell anything. So I'm in there waiting to get the results of my blood work, and he busts through the door and he points at me and he goes, "Randy, I'll do nothing that will kill you." And I'm like, well, thank God, because they couldn't offer me that in America. He goes,
Yeah.
now you might die, but I'll do everything I can to get your body adapting again, chemically, physically, and emotionally. I think it's your best chance to get well and for the cancer never to come back. And here's the best part, Brenda. He goes, "Randy, there's no need for theatrics. Are you ready to get started?" And what do you think I said?
Hell yes. Like
Hell yes.
let's
Only
fucking
you
go.
could say
Yeah.
it, right? Hell
Yeah.
yes. Hell to the
Yeah.
yes. I didn't ask him what it was going to cost, or I didn't need more research. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I really believed I'd found the guy with the confidence, the certainty, who shared my values, who didn't want to treat the condition, but wanted to treat the person who had the condition. And that really set me on a journey not only of healing, but really looking at health and really leaning back on my chiropractic values and looking at, if I could overcome, by the way, I overcame late stage cancer in about 3 months. So not being dead is a great clinical outcome. Thank you, Lord. It is so good. So thankful. But it really taught me that, hey, really, if you can overcome late stage cancer, and this was a terminal diagnosis, really there isn't anything that the body can't heal from. But here's the key. You have to create the right environment. And that has really become my life journey now, is helping create an environment where great things are more likely to happen. And that's really what I'm doing now. And just so happen I get to do that with my best friend, because he saw me go through all that years ago. And at that same time, not only is my life falling apart, his life was falling apart as well. So I wasn't the only screwed up part of the Happy Healthy Guys.
I love that. I love that.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, when you look at interesting enough, when you look at the research, shows that the most successful people in life, what determines their success versus somebody else, is really their zip code, where they're born. Which for some people, they're like, I'm screwed. And here's what that really means. What it means is it's the people who surround you. What is your environment like, right? So who are you comparing yourself to? And so, it's interesting because, as I'm even listening to that, he was able to compare himself to me when he started off in chiropractic. And as he was going through that, what he may or may not have even known is I was comparing even how I was doing health to him, because he was so diligent about his nutrition, what he put into his body, his supplementation, all of those different things. And so as I was looking at him going through cancer, I'm like, wow, there are some laws of health that are being broken. We just don't know what they are.
Right.
We got to figure out what those things are, because for me, the reason I was looking so closely at it is because I had had an injury to my lower back and I could hardly walk. And what a lot of people didn't know leading up to that, because I was really ashamed about it, is that I had struggled with my weight literally my entire life up to that point. So I was 13 years old, 210 pounds, about as wide as I was tall. And I was bullied at school. I didn't like going to school. I was motivated to want to lose the weight at that time in my life, not for any health reasons at all, like cancer or heart disease or anything like that. At 13 years old, as a 13-year-old boy, I was motivated by the cute 13-year-old girls, which were not interested in the chubby fat boy.
Yeah.
And so I did what, most of us have been taught to do, which I learned from my mom. She's like, oh, if you want to lose weight, you just don't eat as much. Yeah. So that got me into the, eat less, move more. I started exercising like crazy. I literally stopped eating. I could go anywhere from 4 or 5 days easy without eating anything. And I got down to about 124 pounds within 4 months. That was in between my 8th grade year and 9th grade year, so I was switching schools. When I went into my first year of high school, there were kids that I'd gone to school with my entire life that didn't even recognize me. And so it didn't make me healthy, for sure. I was thin, but I wasn't healthy, because if you starve yourself, obviously, of the nutrition that your body needs, eventually it's going to give out, and that's what was happening with me. Yeah. And so that's where I started exercising like crazy, and I really then had to be perfect with both my exercise and what I put into my body. I couldn't eat more than like 1,000 to 1,500 calories without gaining weight, and I was like that all the way, even through chiropractic school, even through being a chiropractor. I was teaching people how to eat less and move more in order to maintain a healthy weight, because that's the only thing that I had ever been taught. And so when I had that back injury, was ironically about the same time that he was diagnosed with late stage cancer. Yeah. So I jumped on a plane when he was diagnosed with cancer and going over to Spain. So I jumped on a plane to go be with him. And what's funny is that it's easy to laugh about it now. It wasn't funny then. I could barely walk. Like, it was the most miserable plane flight of my entire life. I'm like, I must be a really good friend, because I can't walk right now. And I'm flying over here.
Hey, man, I'm dying of cancer. I don't give a damn about your bad back right now.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have that bad back pain, right? So and I only say that because at that point, because I couldn't exercise, I had ballooned up over 65 pounds. So now here I was again, 38 years old, over 210 pounds, can't walk, depressed, sick. We were not, like it says on the screen right there, we were not living the happy, healthy life, and we were not the happy, healthy guys like it says back here. We were the overweight, obese, depressed.
Almost dead guys.
Yeah. That was us. Probably would not have tuned into that podcast episode.
No, thank God you guys changed that, because I don't know if we'd be sitting here.
So I'll only tell you that to tell the listeners that, you know what? You can overcome literally anything. If you can overcome late stage cancer, and because of learning the science now of metabolism and how to heal somebody's metabolism, nobody had ever said that you could heal metabolism. I'm like, that to me, that'd be like crazy talk. But applying that science that we learned with him going through cancer to my own body, not only was I able to get rid of the inflammation, the pain in my lower back, I was able to lose all of that weight and keep it off without having to be dependent anymore on diet or exercise to maintain a healthy weight. And that had never been the case. I was able to become that person that I used to look at and be pissed off about and go, oh my God, that guy was blessed with a healthy metabolism. That's why they're thin and I'm screwed. I'm looking at bread and gaining weight, right? It's not fair. Yeah. So now I get to be that person because of what it is that he went through. So ultimately, our pain became our purpose. Sure. And like you said earlier, that's why we do what we do, because we're the most normal, regular people on the face of the planet. There's nothing special about us. All we did is we learned, and then we just did the new things that we were learning.
That's hard though, right? Because a lot of times when you hit that fork in the road, you either are going to reevaluate your current situation and what you're doing, or the worst thing that can happen, and this is unfortunately what most people do, and you know this all too well, Brenda, with what you do, is you just keep adding another layer to that bullshit story that you keep telling yourself, and the cycle continues forever and ever and ever until you finally decide, I'm no longer going to be this way, right?
Yeah. And I love that you guys hit on the very beginning. You kind of talked about who you put around yourself and your mental health. And I know faith is also something for you guys too. And I love that you guys kind of like combine that as a whole to your healing process. So I know, both of you guys have been in chiropractic and that's where you guys started. I know a lot of people are curious, like, Western medicine, right? Like what are the biggest challenges that you've kind of faced in your guys's, like going from chiropractic to really now more what I would consider more deep in the functional health space, not just chiropractic, right? What are kind of like the main like bottlenecks or walls or things that you guys have experienced as practitioners in the space that have come directly from like the Western medicine? Like what things have you guys had to fight through?
That's a good question.
I think ultimately the answer that comes down to the one thing that chiropractic did give us was a great foundation of the chiropractic principles, right? And what it taught us is that our body is always working to heal us. The body doesn't need any help. It just needs no interference. And a lot of people don't even realize that about chiropractic because they think chiropractic is all about neck and back pain, but that's not even the principles that chiropractic was founded on to begin with. And so it was because of looking at life through that lens versus a Western medicine or medical lens, which is just treat the symptom, which is telling you there's something wrong with you or you have too many organs. So because you have too many organs, we need to take one out, right? God put all those things in there for an absolute reason. You have to figure out, okay, from a functional standpoint, what's causing it to not work the way it's supposed to? So that's what chiropractic really did give us. However, I know for myself, I can't speak for Dr. Randy, we were a little bit shackled though in chiropractic for a couple of reasons. One of those being is in order to help one person, it has to happen within the four walls of this clinic in order to be able to give an adjustment. I can't give somebody an adjustment over Zoom, right? And so we have this.
You're not able to do that? I didn't tell you about my side hustle that I got going on.
Are you doing Reiki?
Yeah, I'm doing all this
I was
stuff.
about to say, there's some wild shit you can do on Zoom now. I know you guys have seen some videos. So.
Yeah, don't speak for both of us on that. I've actually got a little Zoom thing going on the adjustment world.
I was wondering what you were doing in the other room over there. All this humming and weird noises coming out of there. I wasn't asking questions, but so we were kind of like we've always had this vision really to be able to help millions of people all over the world, and I'm like, you know what? That's not going to be able to happen within the four walls of this clinic. And it's cool how if you're not going to actually make the move, God will help you make the move. And that's really what he did by what it is that we were going through. So as I was healing myself from metabolic illness, I had a lot of patients then were asking, hey, what are you doing? And so it started helping them with those same things. And then all of a sudden, this metabolism thing just took a life of its own. So I was like, okay, I could help way more people, doing it this way, and also have the flexibility of not having to worry about adjusting just one person at a time. We could be able to help more people than one at a time. So that's when I was like, all right, I can help more people doing this over here rather than chiropractic. Even though I love chiropractic, it just didn't give me that flexibility. So I know that's like kind of two parts to that answer right there, but for me, that's really what it is that changed.
That's really what, to answer your question, Brenda, that really is the difference, because a lot of people, when they hear my story, as you can imagine, they want to know, what did you do? Because I'm telling you, they're giving me months to live. I go over to Spain and I come back, 90 days later, and I'm completely restored. What did you do? But it's not what I did, it's the reason why I did what I did. That's what gave me the strength and the courage to ask some really tough questions, right? We know that our thoughts really are more powerful than reality, and I really had to see myself healthy, and I didn't want to do anything to treat a disease that I believed wasn't making me sick. Cancer didn't make me sick. I was sick, and that's why I was expressing cancer. So I really had already started the process of divorcing myself from the medical mindset that's baked into us really at an early age, where the body is broken, that disease is normal, that we're not supposed to be healthy, which are all lies. I don't believe that for one second. I don't think you do either, that really health is the normal. Disease is the abnormal, and disease and health, if we're going to be honest, they're the exact same thing. It is the body doing the right thing under the circumstances. So I knew in my situation, that's what my body was doing. It was trying to heal me, not to harm me. And so my own recovery just reinforced that principle in my heart to the point where I am convicted.
And so that's really been our message now going forward more than ever before, is you've got to break people out of this autopilot place that they get into where they're no longer even thinking anymore, they're just reacting. When you know that the greatest doctor in the world is already inside of you, and not to quote scripture, but I will. 1 John 4:4 says, "Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world." That's not even a religious statement. That's a fact. There's a healing power. There's an innate wisdom in all of us that's working on our behalf, that's never trying to harm us and always trying to heal us. And it's like what you said, Dr. Rob, our body doesn't need help healing. It just needs us to stop screwing it up. What are you doing to get in the way of expressing 100% health? So I think that's the hardest thing we've had to do as clinicians, and then now in a virtual space, is break people. You got to wake them up and break them out of that toxic mindset that literally doesn't allow you to ever really be back in control of your health. You're turning it over to an insurance company or to a doctor or even to us. Don't turn your health over to anybody. Ultimately, it's your responsibility, but you got to know foundational truths. And when you know these truths, when you really know that health is the normal, everything that you do is completely different going forward.
Yeah, because the bottleneck really becomes just in a Western medicine philosophy is you have a symptom and we're going to cover the symptom up. We're not going to actually get to the cause of the problem, right? And so as it relates even to something like weight loss, for example, your weight gain is a symptom. That's not the problem. So if it's a symptom, we have a drug to be able to give you in order to be able to cover that up rather than actually getting to the cause of the problem. So that's where the bottleneck comes into place for us. Not really a bottleneck because so many people are taught that. They end up coming to us because they're like, you know what, I've tried everything. And everything includes the drugs, the hormones, all the different things to treat the symptoms or the eating less and moving more. And those things haven't worked. And for us, it's like, yeah, it hasn't worked because you hadn't gotten to the cause. You hadn't gotten to what's causing your metabolism not to work. Once we can be able to get to the cause, then we can be able to help you. So if Western medicine is doing anything for us, it's helping us because we get to then go give them the actual solution. And it's funny because when we look at it, we don't even look at the body like he was saying earlier. We don't look at the body as even being sick, right? So that's a Western medicine term. We might say, well, your body is in a state of dyshyphonees, meaning that you're at a lack of ease inside your body, which is why you have a problem, and or you're expressing health as somebody has like symptoms, quote, of the flu. And I talked to my son last night. He's 20. He goes to school in Nashville, and
Jacob's 20 already?
Isn't that crazy? He'll be 21
Yikes.
next month, which is insane.
I was just in Nashville too. I just came back from Nashville, so I'm sure he's loving it there.
Great city.
Yeah, he's a singer-songwriter, so he loves it there. And he just released, shameless plug, he just released his first single this last Friday. And so I was calling him to check on him because I hadn't heard from him in a couple days, and he wasn't responding to my text messages. So he answers the phone last night. Barely. He's like, "Oh, sorry, Dad, I didn't call you back." He goes, "I've been feeling horrible. I had a fever. I just threw up 2 times." He's like, and this is exactly what he said. He goes, "Yes, I've had a rough day today. My body's been expressing health." He got that from just being, like you said, in that zip code of the people around him. That's how it is that we talk. He didn't say, "Hey, I'm sick. I need medications. I need drugs." He's like, "No, my body's expressing health." And here's what he said. He goes, "Can you hook me up with a chiropractor close by?" So that right there is his solution to getting better is to clearing his nervous system, getting rid of the interference, and allowing his body to then adapt to the dyshyphonees that's going on inside there. So that's, the answer to your bottleneck question.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And one of the things too, like I want to hit on that you guys talk about is the symptoms, right, that we experience and the things that people are labeling. This is our body, like you said, expressing health. This is our way of listening to our body. It doesn't mean something bad or wrong. It means, hey, maybe we should listen a little bit to what's going on. So I know you mentioned weight loss a little bit, and I want to dig into this just a little bit because I do know you guys are
more encompassing health, but I'm sure you guys have people come to you and are like, weight is my main thing. Like, I want to lose weight, right? How do you get people out of the mentality of weight is the thing I need to work on versus I need to heal and figure out what's going on that's causing the weight?
Yeah. Well, to be quite honest and fully transparent, it's a great marketing strategy if the hook is losing weight, right? If the hook is, hey, come work with the happy, healthy guys to be happy and healthy, it just doesn't land well and you go out of business. Yeah. And so I think the lowest hanging fruit when we launched this company back in 2015 was really, how do we, hit that pain point of people really hurting right now and really wanting to lose the weight, and then helping somebody that would trust us to work with us to get a quick win, to prove it to themselves what their body is capable of. And I love helping people regain faith, and I know you do as well, in how amazing their body is, that you're not broken, that you're not diseased, that health really is the birthright that we all have. And so when you can create an environment where they can lose that weight, feel better, come off medication, sleep better, have more energy, I think it's easier to help guide them and show them the happy, healthy life and what we teach, because they're like, okay, now I've proven to myself that I really can do this, that my body really is designed to be healthy. And so in our community, that's kind of our best foot forward, is to help take somebody, help them lose the weight, turn their metabolism around, and then show them what they're even, what the future can look like. So I think it starts there, but it's a hard, because a lot of times people still fall back into those old patterns of, I have to, starve myself. If I'm not in the gym every day, then I don't deserve to be at a good weight. Or, I've just got this bad genetic thing that's going on. It's just all those lies that we believed. You're almost fighting those every single day with people to break them out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun when people come in, like he said, because they are coming in for weight loss. But here's the reality is that once they come in for the weight loss, we actually have them, right? So we've got their attention to where we can now educate them for 5 straight weeks of getting us just educating them on what health absolutely is once they've garnered that trust. And then we were shocked by this, and we weren't expecting it. But last year we had a group of our clients. There was about 40 of our clients that we had a retreat in Italy. So they met us there in Italy, which was amazing. And
I remember seeing those photos.
Oh, I missed Italy so bad.
How is that for the FOMO?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I know. I think I actually messaged Randy when you guys were there, and I was like, "Where are you guys at? Like, what's going on?" And I was like, okay,
"Yeah, you were freezing your ass off in Missouri, and then we're out there in Italy."
I was like, "We're done with this conversation now. I'll talk to you when you get back." Like, we're not.
It was every bit as amazing as it looked.
Yeah.
And the first evening, when we opened it up, we were all at dinner together, and what happened was our clients started standing up like one by one, sharing what their wins were. We were thinking one was going to go, "Oh, I lost 30 pounds. This person, I lost 45 pounds. I lost 50 pounds." That wasn't it at all. They were standing up going, "Okay, I don't snore anymore. I don't have high blood pressure anymore. You prevented me from having open heart surgery. I don't have whatever the disease was.
You saved my freaking marriage."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were really moved to tears and
totally.
listening
Real
to that.
tears.
But that only happened because of the system that we have, that we put people through this educational system to be able to really learn how to change their mindset about what their beliefs are about both health and themselves.
That's the battle, right? It's all here. It is 100% the battle. I remember being in clinical practice, and I walked into one of my adjustment bays, and a lady was laying face down, and she looked over at me and said, "Dr. Rennie, am I ever going to get well?" And I looked right back at her and I said, "Well, that's really up to you. Because if you want to get well, you're going to find a way to get well. But if you really don't believe that you're going to get well, the answer is you will never get well." And that was the hard truth in a loving way.
Yeah.
But the reality was she held the power to change it when she was ready to change it. And she decided to change that. I remember, a few weeks later having that conversation with her again. I'm like, either I got way better as a doctor, or you started to stop believing all the lies that you keep telling yourself and all the qualifiers you've put in place that are keeping you from actually reaching a level of health that you deserve to have. You just never believed it.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's a mic drop moment. And I think when you really, this is like, I know like as practitioners, I'm sure like we going back to the weight loss thing, people come to you for that, but it's almost like it's like a checkmate. Be like, okay, you're coming here for this, but I'm going to actually show you really what you're coming here for. Right. And it's those wins, right? It's like that challenge on the back end. Cause I know for you guys, those patients and those clients don't maybe see what you guys see. They think they're coming here for like maybe one healing in one little spot or to fix one thing. And in reality, it really is a life transforming program or experience if you're willing to take it as that. And I think, in my opinion, health and healing should be that. It shouldn't just be this crammed into this like fitness box, right? Which I think is where a lot of people get stuck. And that's where their mindset gets stuck, is they're like, oh, if I'm going to the gym and I'm following this meal plan, I'm healthy. And in reality, you ask them like, are you happy? How do you feel like mentally? And they're like, not good. I'm like, okay, well, this is why. And I love what you guys do. And I love why, how all of that's such a big core of what you guys do and how you guys support your patients. I know you guys hit on the medication, and this is something we got to talk about it because it's the hype. It's everywhere. GLP-1s. Okay. Yeah. So do you guys have patients that come to you utilizing GLP-1s? How do you guys feel about peptides just in general? Do you guys utilize them?
Yeah, well, we don't utilize them. We're kind of in the other camp, right? We're really more trying to help people come off drugs and never ever have to be on them. Clearly, we're not against all drugs. There's certain situations where, I'll give you an example. I broke my leg in high school, and I really am thankful for the morphine, for the anesthesia, for the nurses, the doctors, the hospital. Because I really wasn't looking to naturally treat my broken leg as I'm bleeding out on the basketball court. So thank God for those types of situations. But really, those are rare situations. Most people are on medication, and it's just ridiculous because it's all too easy to go to your doctor, and what are they going to do? They just don't have the ability. They diagnose and they treat disease with drugs and surgery. It does not make them bad people. Stop blaming your doctor for you going to them and asking them for health advice. If you go to a mechanic and you ask for a haircut and you get a shitty haircut, it is not your mechanic's fault. Your mechanic does not have any training in helping you look great with a snazzy haircut. So I think a lot of this goes back to, just looking at basic simple logic. Here's what I know, Brenda, if you give drugs to a healthy person, that person is going to become sick. How is giving drugs to a healthy person going to make them well? If you give them to how is giving drugs to a sick person going to make them healthy if you give them to a healthy person and it's going to make them sick? I think I got that spit out correctly there the second time around.
You.
But
I'm picking it up.
Yeah, you just can't poison people into health. And I don't know anybody who's not thriving that's deficient in chemicals. So all that to be said, listen, these GLP-1 drugs, are some people going to be good candidates for that? Maybe so. That's not the typical person we're working with. They're usually, if they've done that, they don't want to end up back on them. And they really want to go through metabolic rehab with us, because if you look at these drugs and what they're doing, they're clearly not solving the problem. And all the complications from these type medications, what happens is when you stop taking these drugs, you're going to blow up twice as big as you ever were. You're losing muscle, you're losing collagen, you're losing bone density. You're literally causing your fat cells to go into hyperplasia, where they're breaking down and becoming smaller, which is great in a normal metabolic environment. But then you come off the drug, all these new fat cells go into hypertrophy and they grow and get bigger. So you're going to cause more problems than you help. So that's just some of the thoughts around the medications and how we work with our clients. But the truth is, most of our clients coming to us, if they're in their 50s, they're already on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 medications, diabetes medications, cholesterol, blood pressure, a depression medication. So it's really exciting to help them be able to get free of that, because I don't know anybody that wants to be on more medication. They always really want to be on less.
Yeah, our clients call us the GLP-1 rehab is what they call us.
I love it.
And we were literally just on a webinar about an hour before coming on with you, and there was somebody in the chat in the webinar, and they're like, "Hey, I've been taking GLP-1s. Wegovy is specifically who they were talking about. They were like, in big caps, it's not working! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Can you guys help me?" That's who we help. So it is literally GLP-1 rehab.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love your guys' point of view on it. And as you know, it's so easy to get right now. So I'm sure you guys are seeing more people who have them. I have patients coming to me that are wanting to titrate off of it, right? And like, that's freaking awesome. Like, I love it. But to be able to utilize them in a way that even makes sense, someone needs to be metabolically healthy. And most of the time that's not happening.
You can't swallow health, right? It's not possible. You can't inject it or swallow it. It doesn't work that way.
No, I wish we'd all be way easier and better off, I guess, but
we wouldn't be on a podcast right now. We'd all be in Mexico.
We'd all be ripped, tan, and sexy on a beach and eating and drinking whatever we want. It wouldn't matter.
I know. The life. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of your guys' methodology. I know there's a lot of people out there, right? So like your guys' methodology and coach in the way you work with your patients and the way you coach, I know you've hit on it, right, from a healing standpoint, but really kind of what do you feel makes you guys different?
Yeah, so for us, we've got 4 steps. We like simplicity, right? And so the first step is that we test or assess. We always say test, don't guess, and know why your metabolism isn't working.
What labs do you run? Yeah.
We don't mind you asking at all. We don't use a lab to do it. So with the tens of thousands of people that we've worked with, we've been able to create our proprietary Happy Healthy Functional Medicine assessment. So we take them through a series of questions to be able to put them in a metabolic disruptor type. So everybody has something that's disrupting their body's metabolism. So by looking at the results from that, we're able to then customize a very specific plan for that person. Versus in a lot of other programs that people will do, it's like throwing spaghetti up against the wall because it's not customized to that particular person. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have out there, especially with like fitness, like we were talking about, right? And so that's the first thing that we do. Once we know what's going on in there, and we can give them that customized plan, then what we do is we wake the metabolism up. So we have what's called a reawaken phase of our program, because most people, their metabolism has not been working for a long time. For me,
they're in low energy states.
Like for me, it was like 25 years that my metabolism wasn't working. And I go back and I look at photos. We're just talking about this. You know how now like your iPhone pulls up photos from like way back when, and you can see like I had like these dark circles under my eyes, and I just didn't look healthy. I was like all inflamed. And so we're able to reawaken that person's metabolism. The next step is then we retrain it. So we spend 5 weeks retraining our client's metabolism. In other words, what I'm saying is that we're retraining their cells on how to be metabolically healthy. We're helping replace old damaged cells and then repair cells as well. It takes 5 weeks. So based on the science, we know that it takes at least 5 weeks to be able to replicate and make new cells and heal them. And we also know that, and we've looked at this for a long time, is we know that people can do anything for 5 weeks, right? So it happens fast.
Yeah.
And then after we do that, we then reset that person's metabolism so that it doesn't go back. So that's really the 4 steps of the program that we take clients through. So front to back, it's 8 weeks.
Yeah. And during that retraining phase for the 5 weeks, this is where, if they need to lose weight, this is where they're losing the weight. So the results are just remarkable during that time. And they're just eating real food, Brenda. We're huge real food advocates. We have an acronym called SERF, S-E-R-F, not S-U-R-F. So simply eat real food. And our definition of real food, if you set the food on the counter, walk away 2 weeks and you come back, if it looks the same, It's not real. It's built for shelf life. And this is what most people are eating, even in the diet industry, these bars and these shakes and these prepackaged foods. They're riddled with chemicals and flavoring agents and seed oils and all these things that destroy your metabolic profile. So we get them on a completely real food nutritional program, foods that they're just buying from the grocery store, but they're knowing when to eat these foods, how to prepare these foods, which actual foods work specifically with the disruption pattern that we've identified. We also help take them through some fatty acid deprivation to help their body detox from seed oil and glyphosate and begin to repair and heal. So over those 5 weeks, a lot of things are happening, but like we talked about earlier, we're getting them a quick win. You know, people are able to lose, 15, 20, 25, some people lose 30 or more pounds. And we're really seeing a huge metabolic change. And then to take them through a reset phase, we're bringing in tons of foods back in, because during that retrain phase, we get them fat adapted, which is very important. But what a lot of people don't understand is there's another source of fuel called carbohydrates. And a lot of people who do like the dieting and cut out their carbs and then they lose the weight, then they have a banana and they gain 10 pounds back, is they never truly created real metabolic flexibility where your body can use glucose. And so during the reset phase, we're now getting them carb adapted. We're bringing in tons of these amazing healthy carbohydrates to get their body ready to rock and roll. That way they come out of this fat adapted, carb adapted, insulin sensitive, at a healthier weight, detoxed, and really in a position to feel like, okay, what else can I not do? Because I couldn't believe I could do this, and here they are. And then some people need to do multiple rounds that they need to lose, 40, 50 or more pounds. But it's not a lifestyle program. It is a specific metabolism program designed to wake up their metabolism and then set that foundation, because a lot of people are trying to stack bricks on that sand, and they've never put the work in to build it on a solid foundation. And if you've ever built a house on a bad foundation, it costs you a lot of time and a lot of money. And that's what a lot of people are doing metabolically with their dieting and their addiction to exercise.
Yeah, I love that. I love the 4-step approach, and I love setting the foundation. I'm a firm believer in that. Like you can't even really, I don't focus on fat loss phases until I set that foundation most of the time. Do there people lose during that? Yes, but that's normally not even the intention. I know, Dr. Rob, you hit on cellular repair and really kind of creating new cells in the body. So do you guys utilize things like keto and fasting and those types of things to increase autophagy? Or if that's something that's customized, you don't have to get into that, but I'm just curious your guys' point of view on that.
That's one of those things, and thank you for saying that. So that's one of those things, because everybody's body is unique and different, right? It just depends on that person's body, what it is that they're going to get compared to somebody else. So somebody may need some of those things that you just mentioned, other people don't. But what we have done, because of what we learned, like I said, with him being in Spain, it's interesting because, everybody wants to know, hey, what did you do? And really what we were doing and what we did back then was biohacking before biohacking was even a word, right? And so the problem now with it is if you go to a biohacking conference, there's like 300 different booths and 300 different things. So what we did is we took the things that we knew were working to be able to help heal somebody's metabolism, and we were able to bring it together and put it together in a way that is like the perfect recipe for healing somebody's metabolism. Then we do have other programs that are more lifestyle type programs. We have a program called Happy Healthy for Life, but we won't even let people do our other programs unless they have that foundation first of that healthy metabolism. And the reason that's important is because of this, is when you look at metabolism isn't really just the efficiency as to how it is that your body burns calories. When you actually look at the word, foundationally, it's beautiful, because meta means transformation. Bol is B-O-L, beginning of life. Ism is a system. So it's the system that your body uses to be able to get the cells back to the very beginning where life actually started. So if we can be able to get them as close to that as possible, they have a really solid foundation that we can work with. And the truth is once they have that solid foundation like that, they're a lot more fun to work with. We have people that tried to do our other programs that hadn't actually gotten through that foundation, and truthfully and honestly, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and you know this to be true. I mean, most people coming in to see us, the last thing they need to be doing is fasting. They literally have been fasting their whole life. They're literally won't eat
they're eating like
anything.
children. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
eating like children.
exactly. They're in such low energy states. We're like, okay, it's not a sin to eat. It's okay. Let's get you eating. You know, you would never want to put somebody who's in adrenal fatigue into a fasted state, right? So there's just so many nuances and pieces to that puzzle, and it isn't a one size fits all. And so I think that's the beauty of working with somebody metabolically when we're looking at those disruptor patterns. It makes it way more fun and way more customized without having, not that obviously labs are valuable in our Happy Healthy for Life program. We do certain labs. We even actually do send blood work into Spain to Dr. Helu to get cellular analysis from him as we help work them through which foods and how to heal their metabolic profile. But our basic metabolic program, it is very simple. It is 4 steps. And it's not a lot of moving parts, which makes it, I think, very exciting for people to start something, to get a result and not feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you guys are doing. You guys are amazing. I would love like for you guys to give, if you guys could think of like one thing, right? If someone comes to you and like, aside from mindset, we talked on mindset, like what is the number one symptom or things that you're seeing people come to you saying like, this is my problem?
What's the number one thing they come to us with? This is my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I have like example, like people come to me all the time. They're like, I can't lose weight. I have PCOS. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So like what is something you guys hear a lot of?
Well, it's Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I mean, is that not the biggest, diagnosis? Everybody's got autoimmune. I've got opinions on that. Well, that's probably for another podcast. But ultimately what it means is people are damaged. Their bodies are toxic. They're obviously metabolically sick and their hormones are a wreck. And that's why when you throw pills, going back to the drug model, at these people, they get worse. And they end up rebounding.
Why you always have to increase your thyroid medication, you guys. There's a reason. Like, hello.
Exactly. It's not fixing your problem because you keep getting a refill and they keep changing the dose or move you to another one or then add this other drug. One drug becomes 2, 3, 4, 5 before you even know it. So that's one of the bigger issues. And what we found with a Hashimoto's thyroiditis is there's really common factors based off the foods that they're eating, the timing that they're eating this stuff. And also, there's always a real gut health component involved severely with these clients. And so we're able to look at that and address that specifically. And just magically, once you create that environment where the body can thrive and heal, it does exactly that.
I thought you were going to say that the biggest problem that people came in with is that they want help on not having to always wear black, like their whole wardrobe is black because they've been saying that that's the most slimming thing in their closet.
What's really slimming, Dr. Rob?
Getting your metabolism fixed.
That's way more slimming than black.
So many mic drop moments from this podcast, you guys.
Oh
I'm just going to say. So I want to circle back just for a second. So it is your guys' opinion that someone who has autoimmune or most likely has Hashimoto's hypothyroid also probably has an underlying gut issue.
There's no question about it. And there's going to be some toxicity issues for sure that are involved. So gut toxicity, usually they end up with a lot of endotoxin in their colon, which is causing systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. And no general practitioner or Western trained medical doctor is going to know what to do with that. They're way out over their skis with that. In fact, you'd probably have better results just trying to figure it out on your own or talking to Aunt Bessie, who lost 30 pounds. They're just not going to be able to help you with that. It's really, not to disparage, but it's really where we're at in the American healthcare system. You just don't make any money helping people take charge of their health and get to the cause of the problem. You make money when people take drugs for the rest of their life.
Yep. You're so right. And you guys are amazing as far as like how you guys are healing people. Can you let everyone know how people can get a hold of you, where they can find you? I feel like we talked about this before you guys got on here. I feel like you guys are literally on video 24/7 a day and they can find you somewhere online at some point. So let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, they can find us. If you go to Instagram at the H2 Life, at the number 2 or the H, the number 2 life. They could find us there. If they want to find out even how their metabolism is doing, if they just went to metabolismscore.com, they can be able to get information there as well. And then they can also find us at thehappyhealthylife.com.
You could also find us here at our headquarters where we literally sit in these chairs all day long and just record content. Yeah,
True.
We have a cot in the other room next door.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I invited myself to come see you at your location. So I'll see you next time that I'm in Dallas.
Brenda, come jump in the podcast studio. You are always welcome. Definitely. I got to see your hair up against the background, sitting right here. This has got to happen.
We have to, and everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell's going on here? Like, something's out of place. Something's out of place." No, I thank you guys so much for coming on. I believe in everything you guys are doing. We are very similar, and we have some things that are different, but I think at the core of what we're doing is very similar. And like, I always want to support you guys and send people your way and let people know about what you guys are doing. So I appreciate you guys. Anyone listening, go follow them, go find them. They're amazing. And that's it for this episode of Unfiltered. I'll see you guys later.
That's it for this episode of Unfiltered with Brenda Breland. If you're loving the real talk and unfiltered vibes, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. It helps more badass people like you find the show. Got questions, stories, or just want to say hey? Let's chat on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, life's messy, but you don't have to do it alone. Keep it real, keep it unfiltered, and I'll see you next week.